Meta just dropped Muse Glimmer, a powerful AI that can code, reason, see, and use tools, all running locally on your own GPU.
Meta has just dropped a totally new model called Muse Glimmer 30B, and it is positioned to aggressively disrupt that exact narrative. We are literally looking at a massive paradigm shift in where our most capable artificial intelligence actually lives and operates.
So imagine completely bypassing that distant data center. What if a highly capable AI lived entirely on your own computer? Think about what that practically unlocks for just a second. First off, you get total privacy, because your proprietary code or personal files never actually leave your hard drive. You get zero latency because there's absolutely no waiting for a server response over a spotty Wi-Fi connection. You can even work entirely offline while sitting on an airplane. And we aren't just talking about skipping API calls for some simple autocomplete feature here. No, we are talking about having a serious reasoning AI model running right under your own desk. A real highly capable agent working for you locally.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the local AI shift and why we're moving away from the cloud.
To really grasp why Muse Glimmer is such a huge deal, we have to talk about its size, 30 billion parameters. Historically, in the AI space, we face this super frustrating gap. If you wanted to run an AI locally on your laptop, you basically had to settle for tiny 7 billion parameter toy models that frankly just weren't all that smart. And on the other extreme, the massive 70 or 100 billion parameter behemoths required commercial-grade server farms just to boot up. 30 billion is basically the ultimate Goldilocks zone. It sits right in the sweet spot. It's large enough to possess genuine heavy-hitting reasoning capabilities, but compressed just enough that it fundamentally redefines where it can be deployed.
And this is where it gets crazy, because you no longer need a $30,000 enterprise GPU server to run a serious model. Because of how efficiently it's been compressed, Glimmer runs on enthusiast hardware you can actually go out and own. We're talking about consumer graphics cards with high memory, things like the NVIDIA RTX 3090, 4090, or the upcoming 5090. This means the exact same gaming PC you might use to run heavy video games on ultra settings in your living room can now house a world-class AI developer. It literally takes a technology that was exclusively in the hands of massive tech conglomerates and puts it directly onto a prosumer's desktop.
And you don't even have to guess how well this performs in the real world. AMD just recently released some early benchmarks showing Glimmer running locally on its hardware at highly usable speeds. They hit an impressive 24 tokens per second on the Ryzen AI Max Plus 395 system and a blistering 53 tokens per second on the Radeon AI Pro R9700. To put that into human terms, 53 tokens per second means the AI is generating text, code, and solutions significantly faster than you can actually read them. Now sure, while these are vendor benchmarks, they prove an undeniable point. A local, highly sophisticated AI system is no longer just some futuristic concept. It is a practical, speedy reality today.
Moving on to Section 2, Agents that Take Action, which is all about being way more than just a chatbot.
Because that's the thing, Muse Glimmer fundamentally is not designed to just sit there and chat with you. It's designed to actually do things and reason through complex, multi-step problems. Derived from the larger Muse Spark family, Glimmer is built explicitly for coding, tool use, and direct computer control. Let's say you're working on a website and you spot a visual glitch on the user interface. You don't even need to type out an explanation of the bug. You just take a screenshot. Glimmer analyzes the image, understands the context, grabs the mouse, opens your code editor, and fixes the CSS file itself. It acts as an active, capable agent directly interacting with your applications.
Just picture this continuous loop running entirely on your machine. An agentic AI powered by Glimmer independently reads your code repository, edits the code to implement a feature or fix an issue, actually runs the software test to see if the fix worked, checks the result, and if it finds mistakes, it automatically loops right back and fixes them. It just keeps working entirely on its own, completely hands-off until your software problem is definitively solved. You can literally walk away and grab a coffee. No pinging a remote server, just your local PC quietly doing the heavy lifting right there in the background.
This brings us to Section 3, the intelligence trade-off, balancing raw power and local hosting.
Now, obviously, there is a delicate trade-off being optimized here between how much intelligence you can actually cram onto a local machine and how much processing power is required. To see Glimmer's lineage, we have to look at Meta's larger Spark 1.1 model. On the rigorous SWE Bench Pro test, Spark 1.1 scores a 61.5. And for some context here, SWE Bench Pro is a notoriously brutal software engineering benchmark. It doesn't just ask the AI basic trivia questions, it asks the AI to resolve real-world, highly complex GitHub issues from actual open-source projects. Scoring as 61.5 proves it absolutely holds its own against massive cloud models like Anthropic's Opus 4.8 and OpenAI's GPT 5.5.
And we're seeing a similarly tight race on other demanding benchmarks too. On Deep Sweep, Spark hits 53.3, and on Terminal Bench 2.1, it hits an impressive 80.0, running right on the heels of Opus and GPT 5.5. Now remember, Glimmer is a heavily quantized, compressed version of the Spark model. Through some really sophisticated distillation, it's been shrunk down to fit on your graphics card. Because of that compression, it won't always beat the strongest cloud giants. Expecting that would just be unrealistic. But an AI doesn't need to be GPT-5 to be incredibly useful for 90% of your daily tasks, right? Glimmer inherits those serious baseline capabilities while remaining lean enough to actually run locally.
Next up, Section 4, the new AI economics and breaking the API cycle.
So the real disruption here isn't necessarily about beating Claude or OpenAI purely on raw intelligence. It's about fundamentally changing the economics of using an AI agent. If you've ever built software using a cloud API, you know that absolute anxiety of running an automated agent overnight, right? You're just terrified that a loop will get stuck and they're going to wake up to a massive $1,000 server bill. Every time a cloud agent thinks, reads code, or tries a solution, the meter ticks up in a data center somewhere. Glimmer completely breaks that cycle. It runs on your own GPU, you pay a fixed hardware cost exactly once, and running another 1,000 prompts is completely free. Plus, all your proprietary code stays entirely private.
This introduces this totally fascinating hybrid model that is highly likely to become the new standard architecture for development. Think of your local Glimmer agent as your tireless, free intern. You use it for routine, always-on background work, letting it churn for hours, fixing bugs, writing boiler code, or organizing files without ever racking up an inference bill. Then, you save the massive frontier cloud models to act as your expensive senior consultants. You only escalate to them for the absolute hardest, most complex edge cases where you truly need that extra 1% of reasoning power. It is just an incredibly efficient, cost-effective way to work.
And finally, Section 5, Meta's open weight strategy, the overarching corporate chess match.
Now you might understandably be wondering, why on earth would a massive tech giant like Meta spend millions of dollars training such a powerful tool only to release it for free instead of putting it behind a highly profitable paid API? Well, Meta released Glimmer as an open-weight model under the highly permissive Apache 2.0 license. This is critical because Apache 2.0 means true commercial freedom without a bunch of restrictive strings attached. Enterprise developers who are sick of being locked into strict vendor terms can build real commercial products right on top of Glimmer. It directly aligns with Mark Zuckerberg's push for OpenAI, presenting a very bold alternative to centralized closed models. To really grasp this chess move, you have to look at Meta's core revenue drivers. Meta isn't an AI subscription company. Their massive multi-billion-dollar businesses are built on social platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, alongside digital advertising and consumer hardware devices. Because they make their money elsewhere, they don't need to nickel and dime developers for AI inference. This affords Meta a unique and highly aggressive strategic advantage. They can literally afford to completely commoditize the very intelligence layer that competitors like OpenAI and Google completely rely on for their core revenue. It is just a classic business moat strategy executed flawlessly.
By making Glimmer free and fully accessible, Meta secures massive strategic wins across the board. By giving away the brain for free, they ensure that the entire global developer ecosystem builds tools compatible with their architecture, effectively boxing out centralized cloud services. It guarantees that Meta gains unmatched influence over the next generation of AI software. At the same time, it allows them to strike back at international open-rate competitors like Qwen and Gemma, cementing Meta's status as the default open standard in the industry and aggressively promoting a future of cheaper, significantly less centralized AI.
The future of AI doesn't have to mean every intelligent action on your computer being processed inside somebody else's data center. Muse Glimmer is so much more than just a software product. It really is a powerful statement. It definitively proves that a highly useful agentic intelligence can operate with zero per request cost right on a standard gaming PC that you actually own. It represents a massive step toward democratizing AI development, basically taking the power out of the massive data centers and handing it directly back to the individual developer and prosumer.
So as these local agents become an always-on, deeply integrated part of our workflow, seeing your screen, writing your code, and organizing your files entirely in the background, are you ready to manage an autonomous AI intern living directly on your hard drive? Because the era of the absolute cloud monopoly is efficiently cracking, and the real computational power is migrating straight to your desk. The local AI revolution isn't just coming, thanks to models like Muse Glimmer. It is absolutely already here. Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer, and we will catch you next time.